Assalamualaikum guys. Mike Perry just absolutely ragdolled Nate Diaz for 2 rounds and finished him. Bro, this was such a good fight, bro. I'm honestly really glad that it actually lived up to the hype. And bro, big ups to Nate Diaz. Even after all these years, he still has the heart of he still has the heart of the lion at this point. It's crazy. Although I did, predict Nate to lose very easily because I knew that after all these years, he doesn't have the same durability, he doesn't have the same level of striking, and obviously his reflexes ain't the same. He's old, quite old now. If it was prime Nate Diaz, the one who submitted Conor McGregor in 2 weeks notice, then that would have been a completely different ball game. But bro, this was, to be honest, a very easy prediction from my end. But honestly, bro, big ups to Mike Perry. This guy, he has been dominating BKFC for so long, and we have seen that actually translate to MMA. Like obviously, you know at first he was a UFC fighter, right, an MMA fighter. He had 2 fights in the UFC, I believe, but then he left the UFC. And I believe after having a few more MMA fights, he then decided to switch over to BKFC, yes, and that was one of the best decisions he ever made, because in that sport he was dominating year after year after year, and obviously being Conor McGregor's golden boy. And it's just at this point he is crazy, like this guy. And in terms of value for money, this guy absolute legend, value for money. Like he is one of the most worth it fighters in the combat sports world right now. He's the Fabio Wardley of the MMA world, or the BKFC world, I guess you could say. But it's just whenever he is fighting, that there's gonna be blood. But in this fight, when Nate got him to the ground, I was surprised, because he actually got up quite easily. And he actually has some level of jiu-jitsu, because Nate, obviously, as we know, is he, even though he loves striking a lot, he is a grappler first. And his foundation is grappling, Nate Diaz. But even against that, right, he was able to stop some of the takedowns. And as soon as Mike Perry, right, he threw like a few combinations, I understood that it's completely over for Nate. And it's just obviously at this point, though both of them have taken massive damages in their careers, still is just Mike Perry, in my opinion, is definitely the much fresher fighter at this point. But anyways, that's my breakdown on these guys. You guys make sure what you guys think, and inshallah I'll see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.